I've got the rest of the info, but it was close, real close. They're on to me.
Give it to me.
We better meet. It's better than the first stuff. You're gonna want plenty of time to go over it.
Is that a fact? Make it the usual place in 20 minutes, but whet my appetite a little so I'll be in a good mood. You want me in a good mood, don't you?
Whatever you say, Mr. X. I got all the stuff on the other 6 steps, so we've got all 8 now. They're still pushing this coordinator role real hard.
You mean being a customer rep to the dealer and a dealer rep to the customer? That bunk, huh?
Yeah, and they're still wanting them to get their hands in all the action. You know, making sure the job gets done right so the customer will be satisfied.
Sounds good. Now, what are these steps?
Got them right here. Appointment, reception, dispatching, work performance, quality control, invoicing, delivery, and follow-up. You get that?
They sure get detailed with this stuff. Whatever happened to bring them in and get them out?
Funny thing about these steps. They're doing what we feared. They're following through even when the customer's not around. They're dedicated, Mr. X. Real dedicated.
This better be good, buddy boy. I had to cancel a facial and body massage for this.
I told you I'd make it up to you, baby. Let's get on with this. I'm in the mood to listen.
Since I covered appointments and reception last time, I'll start right in on the new stuff, dispatching.
Oh, he's really brilliant tonight, X. Really brilliant.
That's enough, baby. He knows he better earn his pay, eh?
There are 2 things they want to accomplish with dispatching. Keeping the time promise made to the customer and keeping the service technicians productive.
Boy, are they dreaming, huh, baby? Customers always find something to complain about, and downtime's a fact of life. No way around it.
I hate to disappoint you, Mr. X, but these guys think differently. They're having the service advisor sort of doing a little juggling act. They look at the available time, the technicians qualified to do the job, and available equipment. This helps them meet their commitments.
This I gotta know about. Get on with it.
To keep their time promise to the customer and the work flowing consistently into the shop, the service advisors first check the info on the appointment form. They see when the bike was promised, then look at the time estimate to figure out how long the job will take. After that, they figure in bike cool-down time, and if a technician can get to it right away or later. If there's work to sublet, they figure that in too. All this helps them start a job so it gets done when the customer wants it done. But that's not all.
Yeah. What about this choosing a technician? As far as I'm concerned, the best man gets the best jobs.
They're more into quality than favoritism. They always try to match the technician's skill level with the job.
But, what if I wanted someone special?
Well, they'd take that into account, but you wouldn't want an electrical specialist working on your brakes. They want the right person doing the job so it gets done right the first time. The last thing they do is look at the equipment needed to do the work. They want to make sure that if there's any special equipment required, 2 or more technicians don't need it at the same time. By keeping these things in mind while dispatching, they're able to keep the technicians working on a steady basis and keep their time promises made to the customer.
There's no way they can do all that. How are they going to keep track of the details?
They use the appointment dispatch form, the usual RO, and a notebook. The notebook helps them keep track of special equipment plus any work that's being held up while they wait for parts.
Hey, what kind of info do they write in that little book anyway?
They just write in the customer's name, RO number, part description, date ordered, and date expected. They're really organized. It all works great. They're always on top of details.
Oh, I just love a guy who's watching details.
And I almost forgot. To keep things organized for the technicians, they use either rotating or linear racks. They label one slot holding and the others with the technicians' names. ROs are put in the correct slots one after the other in the order the service advisor figures the work needs to be done in. This way, the work flows smoothly and consistently.
That's order in which the work needs to be done.
I didn't know you were watching my grammar.
Oh, you'd be surprised what I watch.
So let me get this straight. This service advisor takes a look at the time promised, the time it takes to do the job, what technician is best suited to perform it and whether or not any special equipment is needed. Then he,
Or she, X. There are ladies to be considered here, you know.
All right. Then he or she puts the ROs in the technician's rack in the order the work is to be done, and then the technician goes over to the rack and gets the job assignments.
You got it. That's dispatching, and it all works very effectively and productively. It also ensures that the work the customer needs is done on time and done right the first time.
All right already on this customer satisfaction stuff. You'd think they were in business to make people happy, not fix their motorcycles. I always figured they need their bikes fixed, I could fix it. I had 'em over a barrel, you know what I mean?
Maybe that's why they've got customers and you don't.
Come on, let's get out with it. I ain't got all night.
The next step in the process is work performance.
Don't tell me these service advisors stick their noses in on the work.
Well, yes and no. The work is left up to the pro, but the service advisor is still responsible to see that it gets done right and on time.
Hey, let's get real hotshot. Problems always come up. Someone's always making a boo-boo. What happens when there are boo-boos?
Well said, baby. Well said.
I knew you'd like it, X.
Well, when a problem comes up, the service advisor calls the customer right away. This includes verifying any additional needed work. They're really up on not giving the customer any surprises come delivery time. In addition, the service advisor makes sure all directions on the RO are written clearly. The samples I got my hands on had the customer complaints and vehicle symptoms written clearly on them, not repair directions.
In other words, the service advisor is held accountable for clear and concise communication of the customer's problem and not for pinpoint analysis and diagnosis.
Exactly.
What?
Go on, hotshot. Tell us the rest.
This brings us to the fifth step, quality control. This is the step that guarantees the work is done right. If there are any problems, they're caught here and taken care of. Though the quality control procedures are done by the technicians a lot of the time, it's up to the service advisor to make sure they've been carried out.
Can you run that by me again?
Don't worry. I'll just explain it piece by piece. The technician should always check the work they've done by double-checking it themselves or by having another technician look it over. They should also road test the bike or ATV. A lot of times that's the only way some of the work can be checked out. It's pretty hard to check suspension stiffness or steering head bearing adjustment in the service stall. This is also when the quality control report should be completed. The QC report provides a list of work the technician feels should be done in the near future.
In case you haven't noticed, all you've talked about is what the technicians do during QC. What does a service advisor have to do?
The service advisor's primary role during quality control is that of a coordinator. First of all, when he schedules the day's work, he sets aside time for the QC inspection. Now, this time will vary depending on volume, but what's important is that he makes the time. After QC is finished, the service advisor goes over the RO to verify that all the work is complete. And he makes sure all safety systems were checked and that all expensive and complex accessory items like fairings and stereo systems are working like they should. A lot of times, customers can't actually see the work they're paying for. So the service advisor encourages technicians to make some minor adjustment that's needed, like tightening a loose mirror. This lets customers know the work was done by people who care about their bike. Finally, the service advisor makes sure the bike is looking as good or better than it did when it was brought into the dealership. Doing a little extra can make a big difference when it comes to creating a positive image of your service department. You got all that, or should I go over it again?
Sure, I've got it. I'm fast. Real fast.
Let me get a look at that, baby. Let's see. The service advisor's role is to schedule time to perform QC at the beginning of the shift. He checks the RO to verify work. He makes sure safety systems were checked and that all expensive and complex accessories are working right. He also makes sure the bike looks as good or better than it did when the customer brought it in.
Oh, X, I'm so impressed.
You should be, baby. I've been paying attention. Now that we've covered, let's see,
Appointment, reception, dispatching, work performance, and quality control.
Yeah, that's right. You took the words right out of my mouth, kid. You're so sharp, I'm beginning to think I should have hired you to do the investigation. Well, now that we covered all that, what comes next?
She's so smart, why don't you ask her?
Sure, Rex. Go ahead, ask me. I remember the last 3 steps from our first meeting with this 2-bit overpriced, egotistical, blood-sucking, pseudo-intellectual yuck.
Don't sugarcoat your opinion of me. Come out and say what you mean. I can take it.
I don't want to waste any more breath on you. Just get on with the last 3 steps: invoicing, delivery, and follow-up.
Whatever you say, doll, you're the boss. Or at least it seems that way.
Just a minute. I'm the one you gotta answer to around here, and don't forget it.
Very well. What would you like me to tell you about?
Tell me about invoicing, just like she said.
Sure. Let's see. During invoicing, charges are determined for the work performed. It's a specialized task that requires accuracy, consistency, and clarity. And because there's no room for confusion, it should be done by only one person in the service area.
One person? And who's that?
The service advisor, right?
Usually. But sometimes a person other than the service advisor handles it, if the dealership has enough personnel.
If the service advisor has someone else handling it for him, then he doesn't have to bother knowing what goes on during that step. I'm right again, aren't I?
Sorry, you're wrong.
Oh.
It's important that service advisors understand the procedure, even if there's someone else handling it for them. Most likely, customers will have questions about the work they're paying for. It's up to the service advisor to answer those questions.
So tell us about it.
I'm about to do just that, sir. To complete an invoice, the service advisor or whoever's handling it checks with the technicians to make sure the work was done, make sure parts were used and accounted for, and compares time spent with flat rate charges. The person preparing the invoice also discusses any variances, determines accurate charges, totals the charges, and distributes the invoice copies. Just so you'll know, invoices should have 6 copies for accounting, customer estimate, customer invoice, parts department, delivery phone check, and a hard copy for service.
Sounds like when the invoicing is done right, the cashier should have nothing more to do than bring up the bill and take the customer's payment.
That's right. And that takes care of invoicing. The next step is...
I know what's next. It's delivery, and nobody does it better than me. Nobody.
Are you sure, big guy? I mean, maybe we should at least check and be sure.
Sure, I'm sure, baby, but we'll check if you think we should. You got a surefire plan that's worth the money I'm paying you?
Sure. We'll wire the doll and listen in while she picks up one of the bikes I planted at your dealership. Then we'll do the same at a Honda dealership. That way you can be sure.
Sounds like a sure thing. We'll do it. First thing in the morning. My limo will pick you up at noon. What's she doing now?
She's up to the service door. Looks like your service advisor is about to greet her. Are you sure he doesn't know who she is?
Of course not. I never bring it to my dealership. In fact, I rarely come here myself. But I know our delivery is the best in town.
We'll see about that. Turn up the sound on the receiver.
Well, hello, Dolly. And what can I do for you?
I'll tell you what you can do. You can tell me what the deal is with this labor charge. All you guys did was replace the sprocket, chain, and back tire. So what took you so long?
Well, let me see the invoice.
Go ahead, look for yourself.
Hey, there's nothing unusual about this amount of labor time. That looks pretty reasonable to me.
Oh, yeah? Well, my boyfriend used to do this on our old bike, and it never took him this long.
Look, I don't make out the invoices. Now, you'll have to talk to the cashier or the manager.
Come on. I don't have time for that. Can't you at least break down these hours for me?
Hey, look, lady, I'm just a service advisor, you know? I mean, you know how it is. We're living in a specialized world nowadays. Now, I got a specialized job. You got a specialized question. Now, if you want answers, you're gonna have to talk to the right specialist, okay?
Thanks. Thanks a lot, pal. You got a real special knack for making people feel real special.
They better be praying Honda blows their delivery. They better be praying or I'll fire the whole lot of them.
Shall we move on to the Honda dealership? She'll be picking up another bike there.
Driver, Anytown Honda, and step on it.
Hi, what can I help you with?
I'll tell you what you can help me with. You can tell me what the deal is with this labor charge. All you guys did was replace the sprocket, chain, and back tire. What took you so long?
Let's take a look at the invoice. Maybe there's been a mistake.
Go ahead, look for yourself.
This labor time looks about average for an interceptor, but...
Oh, yeah, well, my boyfriend used to do this on our old bike. It never took him this long.
Well, let's go through the charges. Doesn't look like they spent much time on the rear tire. Most of the time was spent on the sprocket and chain.
That still doesn't explain why it took so long. He used to do the same thing on our 360, and like I said, it never took this long. You probably think that just because I'm a woman, I don't know anything about this, huh? Ha! But I do.
360, huh?
Yeah. What about it?
Well, your 360 probably had a master link chain, right?
Yeah, it did.
Your Interceptor has a continuous loop chain. It's such a high-performance bike, we put those on for your safety. It takes us quite a while to drop the swing arm, and...
Oh, yeah. Huh. I see why that'd take longer.
By the way, on the QC report I gave you, I noticed your front tire's cupped and the brake pads are down to the indicators.
Oh, well, I'm glad you caught that. I'd better get it taken care of. Can I make another appointment?
Sure. You want to do it this week or next?
Their service advisors made me sick. They're everything I wanted mine to be. You bring all that information on delivery?
Sure. Take a look at these photos of our little excursions to the dealerships. Delivery, as you know, completes the interaction with the customer. After seeing what happened at your dealership and comparing it with what happened at Honda, you can see why it's important for the service advisor to understand all the steps of the customer service transaction.
We can't argue with that, X. When I had questions about invoicing, quality control, and even technical ones, the Honda service advisor could answer them. The guy sure was cool. He remained calm even when I was doing my best to be, well, out of character for me, a little bitchy.
Yeah, and you did a great job at that.
That service advisor was so good he could probably even deal with you, you two-bit overpriced...
Egotistical, blood-sucking, pseudo-intellectual yuck.
You said it, I didn't.
The reason the service advisor was able to do so well during delivery was because he did a little homework. Before making a delivery, the service advisor looked over the quality control report and invoice and made sure he understood any written comments. He did his best to be clear on everything so he could answer questions that came up. Furthermore, during delivery, he showed the customer how he'd taken care of the motorcycle and done his best to answer questions. If any free services were provided, the service advisor pointed them out.
Yeah, I remember they told me they cleaned up the bike and tightened my loose license plate.
Another added benefit of the delivery step is that it's an opportunity to sell additional service. The service advisor can go over the QC report with the customer so they're aware of any other repairs that are needed. And he reminds the customer of when the next maintenance is due.
He's right, X. These service advisors really know how to deliver. They realize that delivery is the last direct interaction with the customer. It's the last opportunity to give the customer a positive impression of the dealership.
Right. And the last impression is no less important than the first. After delivery is complete, the service advisor makes sure he places a copy of the QC report and invoice in the customer file. And he places a copy of both in the follow-up file as well.
Is that everything?
There's still one more step, and that's...
Yeah? It's for you, baby.
Hello? Oh, yeah. I've been expecting your call. And by the way, I was very satisfied with the service I received. 3 or 4 minutes of my time? Well, I'm in a really important meeting right now. Sure. Why don't you call back around 7? That's right. Yeah. Well, thank you for calling.
What was that all about?
That was a follow-up call from Honda.
What's the matter? You still owed them or what?
No, nothing like that.
Well, then what was it all about? What's the purpose of this follow-up step?
The purpose of follow-up is to find out if the customers are satisfied and to resolve any misunderstandings. Most importantly, follow-up is done to gather information that will help improve any areas of the service system that may be weak. The end result of these efforts is continual customer satisfaction.
You're not going to tell me the service advisor does all the follow-up work.
It's recommended that follow-up be done by telephone and that it be done by someone other than a service advisor. The position is usually ideal for part-time students who are able to work during evening hours.
How do they keep things organized?
Honda has developed comprehensive phone check forms for effective follow-up. Using them regularly keeps the service advisor aware of any problem areas in the customer service transaction. Information from follow-up also helps the service advisor determine the percentage of unhappy customers. I'm sure you can realize why that's important.
How could I ever forget?
You can see that a service advisor wears many hats to fulfill 3 broad areas of responsibility.
3 areas of responsibility? Could you review those for me?
A service advisor represents the dealership. He also represents the customer, and he coordinates the workflow to ensure quality and customer satisfaction. You know, you can see how all 8 steps of the customer service transaction work together. They're all interrelated, but it seems like to be effective, they need to be done in sequence.
That's right.
I'll tell you what amazes me about the 8 steps. I can see how using them will help establish the service department as a solid money-making department for the dealership.
And that makes service advisors look good to the people they work with. It also satisfies a lot of other people. Remember those tapes I played for you at the first meeting?
Refresh my memory.
This ought to do that just fine. Listen.
Hey, there's a dealership right up the road. Do you want to take it there?
A Honda dealership?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sure, that'd be great.
Do you have time to do it, or should we let them?
We better let the dealer handle it. They're the experts.
Think we should go there again?
Sure, why not? Remember what a great service department they had?
Something wrong, big guy?
Yeah, something's wrong. They got the 8 steps. They got appointment, reception, dispatching, work performance, quality control, invoicing, delivery, and follow-up. There's no way I can catch up with Honda. There's just no way. They got the 8 steps, and they got them first.
I guess what I said about you was wrong.
You mean you don't think I'm a 2-bit overpriced, blood-sucking, egotistical, pseudo-intellectual yuck?
No, that's not quite what I mean. I don't think you're overpriced. The information concerning the 8 steps, well, it's priceless.
I guess there's only one thing left for me to do. I can't beat Anytown Honda, so I'll buy 'em. Come on, baby, let's get out of here while we still got a chance to go straight.
I'm with you, X. But whatever you do, don't forget the support materials. Like I said, the information is priceless.